Om Tam Deshikendram Paramam Pavitram Vishvasya Palam Madhuram Yatindram Hitaya Nrinam Naramurti Mantam Viveka Anandamaham Namami Namah Shri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukhaswarupaya Swamine Tapaharine. Our very respectful salutations to Swami Gautamananda Ji, the most revered, senior most Vice President of Ramakrishna Math and Ramakrishna Mission, the worldwide twin organizations, and the Adhyaksha, the head of Chennai Ramakrishna Math, and the other senior Swamis who are present here, dear devotees, and the students of the various educational institutions who have assembled here. The discussion today is on the ideas and ideals of Ramakrishna Mission. First of all, you should remember that Swami Vivekananda did not start Vivekananda Mission, but started Ramakrishna Mission. 1st May 1897, he called a meeting after his return from the West, after conquering the West through his spiritual ideas. He called a meeting of the householders and the sannyasins and said, all of us should work together for the propagation of the liberal great ideas of Sri Ramakrishna, and keeping his life and teachings at the center, we should start an organization. Swami Vivekananda, when he was in the West, suddenly said, I have fallen in love. Then one of his disciples mischievously said, who is that blessed lady, Swamiji? Then Swamiji said, it is not a lady, it is organization. I saw how the West know the power of organization. Without organization, no idea will remain stable and cannot be propagated unless there is a continuous chain, unbroken chain of Guru Parampara. Swamiji is very particular about that. But the danger is, once you start an organization, it may become a small sect, and slowly the liberal ideas will be constrained within a small group of people. The liberality will be lost. Swamiji was musing. It is said Swamiji was pacing up and down and asking himself, should I start an organization or should I not? If I start an organization, the chances are, God forbid, that the liberal ideas of Sri Ramakrishna may become narrowed down and the whole spirit may be lost. If I do not start an organization, there will be no nucleus from which the ideas will spread. So what should be done? He was balancing between these two, and it is by the will of Sri Ramakrishna that he started this organization. As we know, Paratatve Sadalino Ramakrishna Samagyaya Yodharmasthapana Rato. Swami Sarada Devi writes in his Pranam Mantra of Swami Vivekananda, although he was immersed in the Paratattva, all of us believe Sri Ramakrishna's story, the vision which he saw, that Narendranath, Swami Vivekananda was immersed as the Saptarshi Mandala, deeply absorbed in Samadhi, and Sri Ramakrishna himself, like a little child of light, put his gentle hands around his neck. I am going, you also should follow. It is said that this Rishi was awakened from his Samadhi with a gentle and beautiful smile. He looked at the little child, which was the darling of his heart, and as if consenting through the smile, he again got absorbed in Samadhi. This is what is mentioned in the books. So he was called from the heights of Nirvikalpa Samadhi, Paratatve Sadalino, Ramakrishna Samagya, with the divine command of Sri Ramakrishna, Dharma Sthapanarato, he established the dharma of the present age. Swami Vivekananda calls this Nava Yuga Dharma. Nava Yuga Dharma in Sanskrit is a Samasapada, as you know. Interestingly, it can be interpreted as Nava Yugasya Dharma, the dharma of the new age. Yugasya Navadharma, it is the new religion of this age. Either way you take it, it's a new message. It is not entirely new, as Swami Vivekananda himself said, but the new thrust which he gave. Nothing in the world is ever new. Great truths over several decades and centuries of practice slowly lose their intrinsic power. Sakale neha mahata yogo nashta parantapa, as Bhagavan said in the Gita. This great yoga, by years and decades and centuries of practice, falling into the hands of people who are full of envy and jealousy and desire, kamodpavat, that is the statement made by Shankaracharya in the Bhashya, slowly the spirit is lost. The form alone remains, but the spirit is lost. So as the great incarnations of God, divine messengers come to revive the spirit and once again make it living, vibrant. Swami Vivekananda's very famous statement about that is my life's mission, life's work. It's a very remarkable statement, but I always remember in his letter to E.T. Sturdy, he writes, and the same day he writes Alasinga also, he says, to put Hindu ideas into English and make out of dry philosophy, intricate mythology, cure startling psychology, a religion which shall be simple, easy, popular, at the same time meeting the requirements of the highest minds is a task only those can understand who have attempted it. The dry, abstract Advaita should become living, vibrant in everyday life. Out of intricate mythology should come the great moral forms. Out of bewildering yogism must come the most scientific and practical psychology. And all this must be put in a form that even a child may be able to grasp it. That is my life's work. So beautifully defined. How difficult was the task, we cannot understand now unless we go back to those days. What did Vivekananda preach in the name of Sri Ramakrishna? And what was the message he wanted to convey through the Ramakrishna Math and the Ramakrishna mission? Remember, Swami Vivekananda called this the Ramakrishna mission, 1st of May 1897. He called the Grihastha Bhaktas, the householder devotees, as well as the sannyasins, the all-renouncing monks, and said both of us should work together in this task. And he said, this shall be named about that person in whose name we have given up the world and become sannyasins, and in whose name the householders, all of you, the devotees, are leading a pure and sacrificing life in the household. This mission, this organization will be named after him, who is our ideal, who is our guru, who is our Ishta, Ramakrishna mission. Everybody was so happy. Swami Yogananda got up. See how the divine Leela unfolds. The doubts which we may have, and the future generations may have all been uttered, spoken, debated, discussed and cleared. Swami Yogananda said rightly at that time, if you read the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna, we get a totally different picture. If you read the Gospel of Ramakrishna, at the same time read Swami Vivekananda's teachings, particularly the letters of Swami Vivekananda, the initial stages. Have fire and go spread. and he had great hopes in Madras. The Madrasis have great pluck and genius. And he said, but alas, every fool is married. It's a great thing to live a great householder's life, but what Madras now wants is non-marriage. Don't be afraid, these young boys. And he made a very devastating statement. If you read Swamiji's statements, you get thrilled. And the way these young boys are getting married these days, only would to God these young boys are not slaughtered in the altar of that brutality which they call marriage. Not that they were against marriage. What he meant was, even in marriage, live a pure life. Don't live a sensual life devoted to selfishness and sensuality. You can live a pure life even in the household, which has been demonstrated by many of the householder disciples of Sri Ramakrishna. Have fire and spread. He writes to Shashi Maharaj, make electric circuits between Calcutta and Madras. Madrasis have pluck and genius, they have practical wisdom, and work in close association with the Madrasis. He had great hopes in Madras. Young men of Madras, I have great hope in you. Young men of Lahore, I have great hope in you. Young men of Bengal, I have hope in you. He had so much of faith in the young people, and interestingly, this entire hall is full of young people, energetic young men and women. If you read those teachings, you feel like jump into the fire and should do something and see the Narayana everywhere and serve them. But if you look at Sri Ramakrishna, he says, are you going to do good to the world? Is the world so small you can do good to the world? The first chapter in the Gospel of Ramakrishna, where he scolds M severely. Who are you to teach the world? First attain God yourself. After having attained God, then you may think of preaching to the world. The problem is, once you attain God, you don't feel like preaching to the world. You get absorbed in it. So was Swami Vivekananda slightly deviating from the path of his Guru? Or was he misleading people by trying to put some rajas into them and asking them to work? Because if you escape into tapasya and then taste the nectar within, which is the Atman or God within, then compared to that nectar, all this will appear absolutely insipid and useless. Nobody will come back. So, you do tapasya, you meditate, but not beyond a point. Is it a strategy? Is it that Swami Vivekananda wanted to teach something which was not exactly what his Guru taught to him? This is a doubt which is coming up again and again. Even now, that is not fully solved. Because human mind is so funny. And you feel that Swami Vivekananda perhaps did not completely follow the teachings of Ramakrishna. Yogananda raised this question. So do you see, Narayan, very hesitantly and carefully, because the outbursts of Swami Vivekananda you can't easily bear. Don't you think you're slightly deviating? Perhaps you have got these ideas from the West, organizing people and then talking, lecturing. Swami Vivekananda went on lecturing all his life. But Sri Ramakrishna said, lecture, lecture, lecture. This is the bane of you Calcutta people. That means educated people. If you put these two together, you do not really know exactly what is the right position. This has been solved by many of the monks and the thinkers of Ramakrishna by saying, we do not exactly know what Ramakrishna taught. M used to come now and then, and he taught something to the householders. What he taught to Swami Vivekananda and others is not known. There is one quick way of solving the problem by saying perhaps Ramakrishna also said this, we do not know, it's not recorded. But if you read the Gospel, from beginning to end, he constantly talks about realization of God, meditating on God, and in fact he says, if God appears before you, will you ask for schools and hospitals? Or would you ask for devotion to his lotus feet? So these things create some kind of a confusion in the mind about Swami Vivekananda's thoughts. This lingered on even later. Swami Vivekananda burst out on Yogananda, and he clearly stated he has given me this message and the mandate. Whoever of you believe in this and follow me, I will take you into my fold, otherwise get lost. You know Swami Vivekananda's language. Even later, Swamiji passed away and hospitals were started, particularly Swamiji started in Kankal in Haridwar, in the Himalayas and in Kashi, because so many sadhus and people who could not arrange for their own treatment were dying in the streets. Swamiji started this. Master Marshaya, Mahendranath Gupta once went to Kashi and Kankal and he saw these monks working day and night for the amelioration of people, for the helping the sick, treating patients. So he was not quite happy because he heard from Ramakrishna again and again, God realization is the only aim of human life. And so Ramakrishna also said in the gospel, reduce your work, reduce your work. But we see Ramakrishna Mission go on expanding the work. Is it contradictory? Then somebody told him, see Ramakrishna, such an extraordinary wisdom even in the practical sense. When he passed away, he knew these problems will arise. Because what he taught Swami Vivekananda, particularly Advaita, Swamiji said, he never taught Advaita to anybody, but he taught it to me. And he also said that same Brahman, the same God is present everywhere. Samam Pashyan hi sarvatra samavasthitam ishwaram, etc. in the Bhagavad Gita. This has been repeatedly mentioned in our scriptures, in the Upanishads, in the Gita. And the Bhagavan says in the Vibhuti Yoga, very interestingly, talks about his glories. The first glory, the Vibhuti, is Aham Atma Gudakesha Sarva Bhutashayasthita, the first Vibhuti of God. I am the Atman living in the hearts of all beings. And the end, 18th chapter, he says, Swakarmana samabhyarcha siddhim vindati manavaha. By doing your own work, by worshipping the divine within all beings and knowing them to be the veritable manifestations of Shiva, you do Shiva. This is there in the scriptures. It is brought out and taught by Swami Vivekananda at the divine command of Sri Ramakrishna. I asked a very, very senior Swami, now he is the most revered president of the order, Swami Smarananandaji. How do you solve this problem of Vivekananda versus Ramakrishna teachings? Then he gave a very quick logical answer. Did not Sri Ramakrishna choose Narendra? How did he choose? He says, Ramakrishna says, Divine Mother showed me. So if you think Swami Vivekananda taught something which is not in line with Ramakrishna, logically it follows Ramakrishna made a mistake in choosing Narendra, and still it follows the Divine Mother Kali made a mistake in showing Ramakrishna that Vivekananda is your disciple. None of these is acceptable, and therefore by the principle of reductio ad absurdum, which is a mathematical way of proving a theorem, you have to conclude that Sri Ramakrishna's teachings were actualized by Swami Vivekananda through the Ramakrishna Mission and the organization. What does Ramakrishna teach? And how Swami Vivekananda made it actualized through this organization? These are questions again and again which come up. When Swami Vivekananda was in New York, his yogas were published. The Jnana Yoga, for example, he gave in London. Then the publisher came, the first Ramakrishna Mission organization, Vedanta Society of New York. Swamiji started it even before he started any center in India. Swami Abhedananda was the first president. The publisher came and said, Swami, I am going to publish this, but we need a logo, an emblem, and the breakfast table. Swami took a piece of paper and a pencil, sketched something and said, take it, draw it to scale. That is the famous emblem which you can see here. Is it here? Hello? They're the most famous emblem Swami Vivekananda gave, and this is a complete pictorial representation of Swami Vivekananda's Ramakrishna's message. What is Ramakrishna mission? What are the ideals? It is in this message, pictorially. And Swami Vivekananda was requested of his disciples in Belur Math to frame rules for Ramakrishna Math. Remember, Ramakrishna Mission was the name given by Swami Vivekananda to this organization on the 1st of May 1897 meeting. Ramakrishna Mission. Just before he passed away in 1902, in 1901, the first meeting of the trustees was held. Swami Vivekananda himself presided. I have seen the minutes of the first meeting. Swami Brahmananda was elected president, and Swamiji said, you should have democracy. Not that somebody will be elected straight away. 3-4 people should be there, you should vote. There is children voting. Everybody knew Swami Vivekananda wanted Brahmananda to come. And Brahmananda voted for Ramakrishna-Ananda. Ramakrishna voted for Brahmananda. 3 candidates were there. Brahmananda, Ramakrishna-Ananda and Saradananda. Of course, Brahmananda was elected. And Saradananda, Swamiji made him the secretary. Till the end of his life, Saradananda refused to become the president. Although after the passing of Brahmananda, several people requested him, you should become the president. He said, no. Swamiji has made me the secretary, I shall remain the secretary. Then Swami Vivekananda made a trust deed of the Ramakrishna Math. That is a small document, very sketchily made. Swami was in a hurry. He made a trust deed and passed it legally, 1901. But Ramakrishna Mission was not given a formal shape. When Swami Vivekananda passed away, Swami Brahmananda and Swami Saradananda together decided Ramakrishna Mission should also be given a formal shape, because the Ramakrishna Math cannot per se, with a trust deed, perform philanthropic and charitable activities. Look at Swami Brahmananda's great wisdom. Sri Ramakrishna once said, Rakhal has Rajbuddhi, he can rule a kingdom. So Swami Vivekananda immediately caught this, and he always used to say, Swamiji used to say, my perception of people is always wrong, and his always right. So whatever Sri Ramakrishna says, I follow without any question, because I can't find people, I become over emotional, I became extremely liberal and suffer later on. He suffered endlessly because of this, because of his great liberality and great heart. Once one of his disciples came and complained, Swamiji, you are too liberal and you accept anybody and everybody as a disciple, and these people go and claim I'm the disciple of Vivekananda and do all kinds of sinful deeds. So people say Vivekananda cannot place people, doesn't understand people, he doesn't have that antardrishti. Swamiji said, what do you mean? If somebody comes to me, I can immediately know 100 lives what he has done and what he has not done. Then I ask myself, even if I reject him, where will he go? That was Shiva. When all the good things came during the churning of the milk ocean, as you know, Lakshmi herself came, Vishnu took her away, Airavata, Uchchaisravasa, the divine horse and the divine elephant, all of them went to Indra, Vishnu's group. Kalpataru also went to Vishnu. When the great poison came, hala hala, then Vishnu was nowhere. Everybody ran to the Shiva, the poor Shiva lying there. Sir, we are in deep trouble, please save us. What is the matter? You have to drink this. Drink this? What does it contain? Oh, nothing, a little poison. Poison, why? To save this world. To save the world, come on. He wants to give up his own body if necessary for others. Durita dalana daksham dakshaja datta dosham Kalita Kali Kalankam Kambragalakantam Parahita Karanaya Prana Pracheda Pritam Natanayana Niyuktam Nilakantam Namamaha. Swamiji writing about Shiva. Shiva himself composing a song and himself as it were. Parahita Karanaya Prana Pracheda Pritam. For the sake of others, he is willing to give his own prana. So immediately he took up. Swami Brahmananda, the chief, the leader, called everybody aside. From tomorrow we'll call him Raja. He is our leader. So even now he is called Raja Maharaj or Maharaj. When we say Maharaj, it means Brahmananda. When we say Swamiji, it is Swami Vivekananda. Swami Brahmananda said, look at his divine wisdom and the visionary zeal in him. He said, Ramakrishna Math per se is a religious organization. At that time, the secularism, constitution, nothing had come. We were in the British rule. He anticipated the time will come when the government will not allow mutts to run all these various organizations. So many legal and financial problems may be there. He separated these two, Ramakrishna Math and Ramakrishna Mission. Although legally separate, ideologically they are one. Ramakrishna Mission takes care of all the philanthropic activities and charitable activities and so on. Ramakrishna Math concentrates on the spiritual activities. But all the activities of the Ramakrishna Mission are also spiritual in the sense that the activities are undertaken with the spirit, that the same spirit, the same divine is in everybody, and service to that divine in everybody, in all the beings, is literally the worship of God. The entire thing seems to be based upon the scripture, the Gita and the Upanishads. Remember, Swami Vivekananda repeatedly said, I have spoken nothing but the Upanishads. All the activities of the Ramakrishna Math and the Ramakrishna Mission are based on the scripture. The Vedas and later the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita are eternal scripture, and anything which is not based on that is not be acceptable in Sanatana Dharma. There is a shloka in the Gita, the last chapter, where Arjuna is asking about sannyasa and tyaga. And Bhagavan, in replying this question, says, some people say all kinds of activities should be given up. Sarva karma tyaga. Shankara also is in favor of that. But some people say all the activities should be given up, of course, but not three kinds of activities: yajna, dana, and tapas. Except these three, everything should be given up. Tyajyam dosha vadityege karma prahur manishanaha, etc. Then it says, yajna dana tapak karma natyajyam. This is my clear, definite view. Nischitam matamuttamam. Yajnadana tapakarma natyajyam karyameva cha. This once again has its roots in the Bharadharanyaka Upanishad, where Yajnavalkya says, Yajnena, Danena, Tapasa, Anashakena. Yajna, Dana, Tapas. This should not be given up. My idea is that the whole of Ramakrishna Mission's ideas, if you carefully analyze, this can be traced to Yajna, Dana, Tapas. Swami Vivekananda once said, renunciation and service are the twin ideals of India. Intensify them in these two channels, the rest will take care of itself. He spoke in English. What is renunciation? Yajna. Yajna means swaha, swaha, swaha. I sacrifice, I sacrifice, I sacrifice. Nothing for myself, I give up. Yajna, renunciation. Dana, service. Sacrifice should translate into service. And the scriptures also say, Chaturvidha dana. 4 kinds of dana are possible. Annadana, Pranadana, Vidyadana, and Jnanadana. All the activities of Ramakrishna Mission fall within these four categories. Annadana, the most famous dana for which Ramakrishna Mission Math is very famous, khichdi, sambar sadam. Annadana, give people some food so that their hunger is appeased. But what is the problem? At 12 o'clock you give him sambar sadam, at 4 o'clock he will feel hungry again. You can't be feeding every day. So give him something higher. Give him some nutrition. Give him some medicine. Let him be healthy. Pranadana. So all the relief and rehabilitation services, giving them clothes, giving them food, giving them shelter, these come under Annadana. Hospitals, dispensaries, all the medicinal activities, then mobile dispensaries and so on, all of them will come under Pranadana. Even that is not enough. You are a very healthy body, you eat well, but you have the dullest of intellect, you are a stupid fellow. What will happen then? Then you will have no capacity to stand on your own legs and raise your livelihood. So give them Vidya. Vidya is secular education, physics and chemistry and mathematics and all kinds of things. Vidyadana, even that is not enough. You have plenty of food, clothing and shelter, and you have your healthy body, and you are highly educated, but intensely unhappy and depressed. What will help you to come out of that? Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna was an extraordinary intellect. Arjuna was not an ordinary person. He was one of the greatest warriors of all time. Arjuna is an Ararishi like Swami Vivekananda. Vivekananda had the most brilliant intellect, but he was running around in Calcutta for a job of 10 rupees which he could not get. The divine Leela. He did not believe in God. I will not believe what you say. Then Sri Ramakrishna used to say, see, people say so many things about me. What do you say? Let 100 people say, I will not believe unless I see. I got quieted down, all right. The time will come, he'll come. He used to call him to his room, take out a small book from under the pillow. Please read this for me. Ashtavakra Samhita, which talk about the identity of the individual, the supreme. Naren's blurted out. It's all blasphemy to call oneself the divine and I am God, etc. All the rishis have gone mad. Then Ramakrishna smiled and said, you may not accept it. Why do you call names of the rishis? You see, I am a fool. I have not studied much. For my sake, you please read this. Oh, for your sake? Then I will read. Unselfishness. I will not do it for me till what he studied there, what he read out to Ramakrishna, went deep into his unconscious and transformed this Narendra into the greatest protagonist of Advaita. He was crying as a devotee of Brahma Samaj. There's a song which he sang the very beginning. Tumi Tribhuvananath Ami Bhikhari Anath Kemone bolibo tomai Esho mama hridaye. You are the Lord of the three worlds, and I am a poor beggar in the street. How can I ask you, my Lord, to come and take a seat in my heart? That was Narendra of Brahma Samaj. And he was transformed with the divine touch of Ramakrishna into the greatest of Advaita and the paragon of Advaitins when he thundered in the West. Never forget the glory of human nature. Buddhas and Christs are the waves of the infinite ocean which I am. It seemed he thumped his chest and said, I am the supreme infinite. Mayyanantamaham bodho ascharayam jiva vichaya udyanti ghananti khelanti pravishanti svabhata. Ashtavakra. Many of his statements in the Jnana Yoga are paraphrasing from Advaita Ashtavakra Samhita. That was the transformation which he brought in. So Ramakrishna repeatedly told him, if you close your eyes, you will see God. When you open your eyes, you don't see God everywhere. One young man came to Swami Vivekananda. Swamiji, I am trying to meditate. Because you take, meditate. So what do? I close all the windows and doors, make the room dark, and close my eyes. Then what happened? I have no peace. You know what Swami Vivekananda said? In his dramatic instruction, my dear boy, if you would listen to me, first open all the windows and doors. Come out and see how people are in misery. These are the living God. Serve them, and you'll get so much peace. In fact, Swami Vivekananda is one rishi, very strange kind of holy man in the modern times who said, who cares for when someone mukti will go to hell? Very dangerous statement. Because if you say my mukti, the I is still there. If you say others mukti, you will be liberated this moment. He told this from Virajananda. The idea is the unselfishness is God. That's what he defined. So, Annadana, Pranadana, Vidyadana and Jnanadana, the entire Ramakrishna Mission pattern of work is based upon these four. Yajnadana tapakarma, pavanane manishinam. Yajna is renunciation, Tyaga, Dana is seva, sacrifice, and charity, giving to others, and tapas is intensification. Renunciation and service intensify. This can be perhaps translated as yajna, dana and tapas, and tracing back to this. The concept of yajna is extremely important in the Vedas, and Swamiji revived this and made a different kind of yajna. He said the Virat, all the beings in the universe, not only human beings, all of them are only manifestations of that Virat. And the Virat Upasana, why do you sit in the simple and bell ringing? He was very much afraid. He used to tease Shashi Maharaj, as all of us know. I am only terribly anxious about Shashi's shrine room, the Thakur Ghar. Go on ringing the bell, and old, outdated, antediluvian and obscurantist ideas of the Purohits, all the great scholars. He used to make fun. Great scholars discussing such momentous questions. If a potato happens to touch a brinjal, how many millennia it will take before the world is deluged? If I don't wash my hands with mud 24 times, will 15 generations of my ancestors go to hell or 24? Learned pundits having debates and discussions on such momentous questions and finding scientific explanations, writing huge books. If such a nation does not go to hell, which other nation will? People are very angry with him. And such language he used against the priestcraft. He said, root out priestcraft from Hindu religion and you'll have the grandest religion on earth. Caste system and the priestcraft. And privilege and privilege. Privilege for me. The great scholars who were Brahmins used to claim great privilege because they are Brahmins. Swami said, break this idea of privilege. Vedanta says the same Atman is present everywhere. Samam pashyanya sarvatra samapasthitam ishwaram nahinastya atmana atmanam tato yade parangitam. The Samatva Buddhi, the entire Ramakrishna mission is based on this. Yesterday, Revered Swami Gautamananji was mentioning so beautifully how Swami Ramakrishna, the first time in history perhaps, nearly 125 years ago, made everybody sit in the same line and eat together. Almost impossible even to conceive. And inspired by Swami Ramakrishna-Nanda, Ramanujacharya and Ramaswami Iyengar, how they did. Ramanujacharya was such an orthodox Iyengar Vaishnava in those days. He kept widowed Brahmins of any caste. Girls used to be married at a very young age. Before they knew what was marriage, they were widows. How Ramanujacharya fought for the education of these widows. In the Vivekananda realm, Castle Karnan, he kept a few widows of this type and started educating them. Said, you are all my own children, my own daughters, study. Tremendous revolt in society. Privilege, you want to hold everything. Intellectual people have this tremendous danger, all of us included. We want to hold the knowledge to ourselves because of superiority of knowledge and intellect, put people down I am the superior person. The Purohits, do you know Sanskrit? Do you know Sanskrit? No? God understands only Deva Bhasha Sanskrit. You would tell me what you want in your own language, I will translate it to God in Sanskrit, give me hefty money. Dakshina. And the modern incarnations of these priests are called software engineers. Do you know the computer language? Machine language? Java? C++? No, I don't know. You give me hefty money, I will translate the machine language, tell it to the computer to do. Everywhere privilege of knowledge. So Swamiji therefore said, give knowledge to everybody. The Ramakrishna Mission repeatedly tries to give knowledge to everybody. Swami Gautamanji himself is the head of a huge center which is now thriving, the Bastar district. It was declared by government as the most backward, primitive tribe. People did not even know how to clothe themselves, men and women. Suppose a rat or a cockroach is going, they'll simply catch it and eat. That was the level. From there, Ramakrishna Mission entered. They will not accept so easily. The school was started. Now it is class 12. A hospital was started. You cannot imagine how those boys and girls chant Sanskrit mantras, how they sing Sanskrit stotras and songs, how educated they have become along the Itanagar in the northeast. And we are also trying to start a college in Narayanpur from the university, so the class 12 boys and girls can go up, have a vertical mobility. So Swami Vivekananda said, education should spread. Ramakrishna Mission's ideal is through education. Swamiji said, I traveled all over India and saw the terrible plight. I asked myself, what is the solution? Education, education, education alone. The right type of education, not the rote education. 1836, Lord Macaulay pronounced his new policy of education for India, in which he said, on record, I am going to give these Indians such an education by which they will appear to be Indians from outside, but inwardly they will be completely and thoroughly anglicized, and they will serve the English masters. We will make clerks out of them. Calcutta was the capital of British India at that time. Most interestingly, even now, the Secretariat of the government in Calcutta bears the name Writers' Buildings. Create writers, create clerks so that India may serve us. As Lord Krishna was born in Kamsa's jail, 1836, just 1 year later, Sri Ramakrishna was born in a remote village in Bengal, completely and totally neglected Macaulay education, and interestingly, picked his best disciples from out of those who were educated in the Macaulay way. Look at how East and West is coming up. And Sri Ramakrishna proved Eastern spiritual wisdom shall conquer the materialistic West. Not by antagonism, but by amalgamation. Swami Vivekananda's great dream, which he wanted to actualize through Ramakrishna Math and Ramakrishna Mission, was to pick up the best elements of the East and West and bring them together. On the one hand, you have the rituals, you have the puja, you have the chanting, you have the study of the Vedas, study of Sanskrit, spirituality, meditation. On the other hand, you'll have the computer science and artificial intelligence and Internet of Things. Both of them will be taken parallel, and our monks will be great scholars, and both of them. Swamiji wanted this. The last day of his life, 4th of July 1902, he told his dear brother disciple Swami Premananda, प्राचीन भारतीय धारा बजाय रेखे ता संगे संगे आधुनिक ज्ञान विज्ञाনের অনুশীলন যাতে হয় এমন একটি বিশ্ববিদ্যালয় আমাদের বেলুর মঠে গড়ে তুলতে হবে, keeping the ancient spiritual ideas intact and combining it, blending it harmoniously with the modern science and technology. We should establish a university at Belur. Just a couple of days before that, 2nd July 1902, Nivedita had come to Swami Vivekananda, desperate, unhappy, frustrated. Swamiji, I can't carry on this work anymore, which you have given me. The girls are not coming to education. How far we have moved when you see these girls studying and excelling and going beyond even the boys. No, the girls are everywhere. The time should not come, unfortunately or fortunately, that the boys will be cooking at home and the girls will be working everywhere. The boys don't get offended. The spirit should go. Girls would not come to education. Nivedita had to go home to pull the girls to education. They will again run away. He said, I can't manage this anymore. What kind of subjects will interest the girls? Swamiji listened for a long time. It is recorded. Unusual for him. He is very talkative. And he said, you see, you may perhaps introduce these subjects or perhaps not. My mind is no longer on such things. I am preparing for death. But you should have your meals with me today. After Nivedita had eaten, Swamiji himself poured water on his hands to wash. Nivedita protested, very much the disciple. Swami, I can't bear this. You do to me. You are my guru. I have to serve you, not you me. Swamiji smiled and said, you see, Jesus the Christ washed the feet of her disciples. Nivedita just had it in the tip of tongue to say, but that the last day they ever met. Last supper. Nivedita never met him again. And on that historic occasion, Swami Vivekananda said to Nivedita, anyway, it is saying Rama Rama, it's not a bad thing anyway. God's name should be chanted all the time, but not during these meetings. Anyway, don't worry. So Swamiji told Nivedita, the spiritual impact which has come to Belur Math will last 1500 years, and this shall be a great university. Do not think I imagine it, I see it. Now slowly things are taking shape. We do not know what kind of shape in future it will take. It was thanks to Swami Gautamanandaji's great efforts and blessings and support. In 2004, we formed a committee and went to Delhi, we met the government and so on. That's a big story. So how Swami Vivekananda's every one of the utterances will come true. They have to come true, and this country within a couple of decades perhaps will reach a very great size, for which he wanted men and women of impeccable character. He said, give me 20 men and women of impeccable character and personality, integrated personality, and I will shake the world. Young men of Madras, women also, my hope is in you. Is Swami Vivekananda's words. With this hope, I thank all of you, and my respectful pranams to Swamijis. Thank you.